Hi there, it's me again, it's Soni. I felt like talking. You got some time? You want to talk? Um, I want to talk about limiting beliefs and abandonment, betrayal. How we kind of get into those situations, if that's okay. Hmm, no, page channel. Uh, I went over this weekend to see my personal shaman, Joy Andreasen, over in Winchester. She's fantastic. I love her. And we did a soul retrieval, and that's kind of a fun thing to do. And she wanted to try a new modality of healing with limiting beliefs, and so we did that. I do it. She does it a little differently. I use the pendulum and the EFT uh, to help clear those. But what's important about beliefs is that it's our values and our beliefs that are the basis of our behavior. The things that we believe, that we're going to make them come true, one way or the other. And so if we have negative or limiting beliefs, that can certainly put us in situations that are not uncomfortable. I think we need to understand that it is not always what we do. It is our intention, the intent, and why we do it. Are we doing it from a negative motivation, or are we doing it from a positive? Are we doing it from fear, which is what most people spend their lives doing, or are we doing it out of one that's more positive and loving? And so we're trying to shift everything from the fear. When we're children and we don't have any context, and so we pretty much believe everything that we're told by our caretakers. So we'll call them parents, but in my case, it was my grandmother, who our caretakers are. And, if they're screwed up, certifiables, which mine were, or, addicts, alcoholics, whatever, we're going to get some really negative beliefs about ourselves and who we are and what we're doing. So when I was talking and these beliefs, we need to reevaluate. We need to reevaluate them. They're their beliefs, they're not necessarily ours. And what we believe, or who we believe we are, is how we're going to face the world. And she brought up a belief that I thought, I thought I dealt with it, but she brought it up in a different way, and I realized that there was still some of those remnants of that belief left. And what she said to me was, she said, "You have this belief that children are a nuisance." I thought about that. Well, some children are. But what brought up to my mind was what my grandmother would say frequently, children should be seen and not heard. Children should be seen and not heard. And I grew up in this hotel, this residential hotel, and there were, old people there. Older, because I'm that old now myself. But and they were lonely people that had no families, and yes, they didn't want the children around. And so I really did grow up thinking that I was a nuisance. Mm-hmm. And I became a great codependent because of that. And when you don't think you have value, if you're a nuisance, my God, certainly you don't have any value, then your relationships, in order to try and find love, you're going to have to prove to somebody else that you have value, therefore you can be loved. If you don't have value, you can't be loved. It's pretty simple. And this comes across to us sometimes, in subtle ways. It doesn't have to be real, obvious that, somebody's beating you up, which some people do. They just get beaten up physically, and things like that. But even when you don't get support, my friend who's in a wheelchair, she wasn't perfect. Her body is not perfect. So she grew up thinking that she had no value. One of the finest human beings you'll ever meet. And, you know, I got another friend that has ADD and dyslexia. You know, that makes you feel like you're a little strange. And so you don't have value. And we're so used to this that we don't even sometimes realize what we're doing. But it is us who has to establish who we are as adults. We have to let go of those old limiting beliefs and change them, because that's going to affect our lives. Because if you don't have value, then why should somebody love you? That's what you're thinking. I don't have value, therefore I'm not lovable. I'm not lovable. And so I'm either going to go out and try and prove that I'm lovable, or that I can succeed. Many very successful people have very low self-esteem, and then they're out there proving their success financially, whatever it may be, you know, power, so that they can feel good about themselves. It doesn't work, because when you're doing something from a negative motivation like that, you will never ever be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor, because you don't think you deserve it. Therefore, how can you enjoy it if you don't think you deserve it? So you need to change that. You need to change that. And it's hard. It's hard. So often what we'll do is we'll get ourselves into situations where we're trying to get somebody else, force somebody else to love us, take care of, and do whatever we need to prove that we are valuable and they'll love us. And all we do is push them away when we do that. But when we don't, when we're afraid of that pain, of not being lovable, of people not wanting to love us, of them seeing that we aren't valuable, that they'll see the real person that we are, you know, we'll put this front up in the process. And then they're going to see that underneath that we're frightened and we're not lovable and we're not good enough. We don't want that realization, because they're going to abandon us. And what if they do love us just a little bit? They make us feel good. And if they make us feel good, and then they're going to take it away. So they're abandoning us. That's how we look at it. And so we don't want that pain. We want to control it, because eventually we push them away. So what we do is we push them away first. We abandon them. But we don't think about it as abandoning them. We don't think about it that way. We think, oh, I don't want this pain, or I'm going to hurt them. I always know that I hurt people because I run away. So I don't want to be responsible for that, so I'm just going to disappear so I don't hurt them. Well, no, you're disappearing because you want to control the pain, your own pain. And you end up hurting everybody in the process of doing that, because you're not willing to let somebody love you, because it's too scary. Because if they love you and then they take it away, they've abandoned you. So you've got this self-fulfilling prophecy going on, what you have. And you're going to send out that energy that is going to, because you're not dependable, because you're going to abandon them as soon as somebody gets close to you. Anybody that looks appealing, that might be a good relationship, you're going to push them away so they don't hurt you. So what you're going to end up doing is sending out this energy, and you're going to be attracting people that have the same problem that you have. So if you're a male, you're going to find women that use you, and call them narcissists. And the same thing with, women who attract men who don't trust women, call them narcissists. Okay? But in fact, what everybody's doing is they're just trying to protect themselves. That's what they're trying to do. There's a few narcissists around, but few and far between. Mostly we're frightened children. That's what we are. But what we do is we have this self-fulfilling prophecy. Excuse me, but I was out in the sun, I got sunburned. Uh, and it hurts. It hurts like hell because we all need to be loved. Everybody needs to be loved. But we're unwilling to, because we don't think we deserve it, we're unwilling to let somebody come in and love us. We put this wall up, push them away before we can even find out whether it's a decent relationship or not. As soon as they get close to us, we panic and we do something stupid. And we're going to stop. Okay. And it has to stop at some place. You can't keep running. You can't keep running forever. Well, I guess yes, you can, but eventually you die inside and you end up with psychological problems and physical diseases and all kinds of stuff like that. And you know what? You might as well do it this lifetime, because if you keep it up, the abandonment and the betrayal, you keep making all this lousy karma, and you're going to have to work it out the next time. And, you know, if you're getting hit by a 2x2 this time, sweetheart, I guarantee you it's going to be a 4x4 the next time. And you sure as hell don't want to get hit by the 6x6. Okay. So you need to take the attitude that I'm going to clear my issues now. Okay. Because whatever I'm dealing with now can definitely be worse. And not that karma doesn't punish it. It's just that we got to learn. So what we have to do is we have to work on ourselves. And that's hard because we don't want to deal with the pain. That the whole thing is we're trying to control the pain. And we push the people away so that we don't have to feel the pain because we can control it. We know how much that's going to hurt, but it's not going to be as bad. It doesn't hurt as much if I leave the situation as if they leave the situation, okay? And it's just a waste. It's such an unbelievable waste of opportunity and lifetime. And we've all done it, you know. We've all done it one time or another. But what we need to do is we need to look at that belief. We need to look at the beliefs of what we think about ourselves. And how you start to question those beliefs is what kind of outcomes are you getting? Work backwards. Okay, in other words, if I'm getting lousy outcomes and I'm not getting people, if I'm only attracting emotionally unavailable people, then why? We have to ask ourselves why. What is our belief about ourselves? If we believe that honestly believe that we're okay and we're good with ourselves and we love ourselves, we're going to start attracting healthy people. So if you've got a series, you see the pattern in your life of betrayal and abandonment, well then somehow, some way you think that you're not good enough to be loved, because that's the kind of people that you're attracting. And that's what you think about yourself. And so what you start to do is you start committing to yourself. It's not committing to the other person. It's committing to yourself, of who you are. And ask yourself, who am I? How have I been acting? What do I think about myself? Do I think I'm a nuisance? Do I think I'm lovable? Do I think I'm good enough? Do I think somebody's going to see through me and I'm not that person? Am I being honest and not in relationships, or am I trying to protect myself? Because when you start protecting yourself, what you end up doing is you start manipulating the situation. Yeah, you do. Because you want to control it. You want to control the outcome. You want to be sure that you got complete, total control. Well, that doesn't work in relationships. Relationships are negotiable. You can't control somebody else. The only person you can control is yourself. And you don't think you've got that control. But we do. So what you start doing is you start facing your fear. And you start looking at the things that are triggering you. And what are you really afraid of? You're really afraid that that person is going to see who you are and that you aren't lovable. and you're not good enough, and you're going to push them away. But you know what? If maybe you just stood your ground and you let that person in and you were vulnerable and someone would start loving you and you would feel that love, then that would give you that safety net that you can start loving and be vulnerable. You know, if you don't make commitment, how do you expect someone to commit to you? And I know it's scary. God, it's so scary. I know it is. I know it is. But you got to do that. You got to face your dragons. Face them. And sometimes it's not going to work. But that's different. I mean, there's a difference. Sometimes we just say, okay, I've been vulnerable, I've been open, and I'm doing this. And no, we're not clicking. We're not working. And you can walk away from a situation. Right? But that's not out of fear. When we close ourselves off, then it's out of fear. And we'll never know. We'll never know if we're lovable. So you got to stop doing that. You got to be honest in a relationship and just working it one day at a time. One day at a time. You can't have a 5-year plan and a 2-year plan, okay? No. You got to work with the other person. Life is not that way. You can run a business on a 2-year plan or a 5-year plan, okay? But not relationships. What we do is one day at a time and see how it works. And when we get scared and when we do something stupid, I do stuff stupid. Recently, I've done something stupid. Then we say, okay, hey, I was afraid. I did this. I said this. I got scared. And if that person is really someone who loves you, they'll understand that and they'll help you. They won't use you. They won't use you. But maybe they're scared too. And so you got to take into consideration that they get scared. And sometimes people do need space. They need a little space. You get too crazy, two of us, that aren't used to being loved. We're going to try to find space. But you come back in, okay? You come back in. And then you say you're sorry, and I got scared. But you got to make the commitment to yourself that you will see it through. And if it doesn't work, okay, it doesn't work. And then you're not rejecting. You're not rejecting. But when we just start out and have these abandonment issues, and we expect somebody to abandon us, and so we abandon them first, we're not going to get anywhere. It's the self-fulfilling prophecy. It just goes around. It's a vicious cycle that you go into. And then we become hard and we become cold. So look at the belief and change the belief. That's what we need to do. And you change the belief by looking at the other things that you do in your life and what a good person you are. Sure, we've all got hang-ups and craziness and stuff like that. But most people are good. They really are. They're just human. They have fears and weaknesses. And if we stop judging ourselves, maybe we'll stop judging them. We have to, accept people for what they are. And we got to accept ourselves. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be in this dimension to begin with. You wouldn't be listening to me. That's for damn sure. Okay? So look at some of those beliefs. And the only way that you're going to be able to change that belief is to face it. And tell those people back, whether they're dead or whatever the case is, they're wrong. They were wrong. You are lovable. You are okay. Not perfect, but you can change things. We all have the capacity to grow. So quit judging yourself so much. Okay? Why don't you try that? See how it works. Yeah. Take a chance. Take a risk. Can't be any worse than what you're doing now, for God's sakes. You don't have anything to begin with. You keep pushing everybody away. No. Take a risk. You're getting rejected anyway, so you might as well try to do it with something that's positive. So what? They reject you. It hurts. I'm not saying it doesn't hurt, but which hurts most? At least if you keep trying, if you stick in there, you got a possibility of an outcome. But if you keep rejecting everybody that loves you, you are guaranteed not to have anything. Is that what you want? Have you considered loving somebody that loves you? That might be an interesting option. Not just trying to prove to the people that don't love you that you're lovable. Try it. Might find it's nice. Feels good. I love you. I think you're cute.